Alrighty, so this is going to be a little VOD review here, or a little fight planning VOD review to a degree. Um, so this is going to be sort of not a definitive step-by-step guide on how to win every fight, but I'll detail what I personally think is necessary to win and sort of maintain these fights in general. So I'm not going to be telling you like Widow move like 1.3 seconds of E or of like hold D for like 1.3 seconds to enter the sight line, whatever, like adjust the stuff here. Like it's not going to be super about the specifics. It's just going to be about the things, the precautions and sort of the my personal approach to sort of fight planning and stuff like that. And now, because I am a support player, it will obviously have a lot of hints of support uh, based decision making, and it won't be super macro like a tank might be a lot of the time. But yeah, we'll interpret the fights sort of. I'll interpret the fights as best I can, I guess, to break down a potential play style or wave that we can all play to sort of uh, win and stuff like that, or just keep ourselves alive. So I'll explain, I guess, both as sort of a fight planner, like trying to tank, I guess, a bit, and what we can do as an individual. So maybe as a, I don't know, maybe a sniper or a support. So yeah, um, let's see. Going forward, we're running our pretty standard lane comp just with a Genji instead of another sniper. We're also running Ana Zen instead of any form of Mercy. So already this puts us in a slightly interesting spot. The Zen wants to put like Discord on people and burst them down with a lot of damage and stuff like that. Our tanks are more than happy to provide, and so is our one sniper. But the Genji says to me that we want to be sort of investing into killing solo players and stuff like that, and the enemy snipers more than we're sort of pressuring the tanks. So we got to make sure we're getting that done supplementally. Um, in the original sort of lane comp where you normally run like maybe a Widow and an Ashe or a Widow Hanzo, Ashe Hanzo, whatever. Um, with a Zen, you're mostly looking to place Discord on one of the tanks or just anybody who's at a position, mainly a tank probably, just because like Roadhog and stuff, and just fire on him from our Widow and our snipers and stuff like that. We can really, really burn people like that. Um, but yeah, the Genji says probably a bit more 1v1. So, attacking into Blizzard World first, or Blizzard World, Junkertown first, oh my gosh. What can we expect is sort of my first thing here when I play scrims. Like, what can we expect from the enemy team? It's probably going to be something pretty standard, like, I would normally expect, like, maybe um, just some form of high ground holding. And that could it's mostly effective with like maybe a Sigma or something, but you can expect dive tanks or like I don't know something like that here. You can expect them on the high ground because also snipers are super common here. It's like Halloween and Candy actually, like Junkertown A and snipers and stuff like that. So as a rough fight plan here, I mean none of us let's just look through it, I guess, our team compositions and stuff like this. So I'll view it from our tank's perspective first. So we see somebody boosted by that blue aura on the right, so we know there's a Mercy, and probably someone who could benefit from that boost like an Ashe or a Hanzo. It's Ashe, she reveals herself. So we know that there's a Mercy and Ashe. Now we see that there's Widow, D.Va, and Rein as well. So Widow, D.Va, Rein, and we haven't seen the last component of their comp yet, but we can already sort of formulate an idea that, like, okay, why the Reinhardt here? Like, again, as we sort of explained in the last VOD review, Reinhardt, when ran with like a D.Va and a Widow and an Ashe and a Mercy, and like the only person who can outrun him in this comp is an Ana, and she doesn't really even want to be super close to him. Like, Reinhardt's just gonna sort of be your distraction, kind of like the those little things that push all the staples in at the end of like a stapler. Um, he just is there. He'll push a little bit when he needs to, but it's mostly the focal point isn't going to be him. If you're looking at him, he's like a wrecking ball. That's not really what we should be doing unless we're hard committing to burning him. But yeah, mainly the focal point of this comp is going to be the snipers, yeah? Because we see a Widowmaker, misses one tap herself. We see the boosted Ashe, misses one tap the second. Um, she's actually boosted for this. So if anything is our first priority, or I guess our main priority, it's sort of disabling the snipers and killing them in any sort of way. Let's see. So going forward, what does that sort of mean for us? So again, just looking at their comp, seeing how we sort of interface with each other. Our comp is really, really good at sort of applying pressure and surrounding people a lot of the time, like just taking angles and being cruel with them, which is really funny. We got a little bit of it going on, whether we mean to or not, with the Genji over here on the left and the Widow taking high ground on the right. The only thing that could really benefit us more is maybe our tanks taking this high ground with Sig Shield and firing down on the enemy where we can see them or something like that, or having Sig poke from high ground and Hog hold bottom. You never know, because until Ryan drops down, like it's not going to be really a super great thing for them to like keep the cart moving, you know. So Ryan's probably going to be their cart anchor, just hanging out there trying to wait until the snipers find value, or until yeah, pretty much the snipers just outsnipe us or something. That's kind of what I expect as a player in this composition. So snipers first priority. If we want a little more pressure on high ground, maybe our Sig and our Zen can come up here, you know, maybe fire a little bit, try and find some people, help out Kenny if we can. It's a bit of a stretch a lot of the time, but until Ryan drops down, you can really apply pressure up here too. Like, it's a long hike, but if you come over here, you know, shield and rotate and stuff like that, you can even poke at the snipers over here, which is fun. Let's see. So what does this mean for the individuals? So our fight plan here, I guess, is just sort of, again, apply some sort of pressure or force them in a spot where they don't want to play. So we can sort of tell their discomfort and their really want to make something happen when Ryan drops down. He really doesn't find a lot of value here on the high ground, but he's putting himself in near immense danger if he's anywhere not near a corner and trying to contest cart. Because we have snipers and Ana and Zen and stuff like that. He's in quite a bit of a pickle if he drops down. So you know that when he drops down, he's sort of committing a lot of the time. Let's see. So as an individual, this mostly means just try and relay information about the location of the snipers. Try and pick them if you can, play behind cover if you can, and peek with intention. So maybe ask your Sigma for shields, shoot a volley over here, something like that. Oh, and we found Ana too. Yeah, as long as we're spamming high ground and trying to force the snipers into a bad position. So like, if poor Ashe is just getting ruined here and then she decides to rotate left, maybe Kaiju catches her head behind this thing here. Or something like that. So yeah, mostly our snipers are looking either to just punish somebody. It can be almost anybody. Unfortunately, we lose our first sniper, but that's sort of our plan. We actually trade out for their Ashe and the Mercy with a nice little heads-up volley there. So now we're up one in the fight. They're down a big portion of their healing. This means we can pretty much safely engage onto pressuring just people. We can start trying to surround them if we like, just very carefully. I'd prefer to move around this corner first before we do. And you can see that they're pretty serious about this now because Ryan dropped down. So now Ryan wants to hold the cart. He's also discorded. At the same time, he gets hooked and just called out. Let's see. We poke out the Widow. Now they have no more snipers, and now we can fully surround them. Which is why you see our Zen and our Sig over here, just literally surrounding these poor guys in choke. They should have seen it coming, but never did, apparently. So yeah, it's very sort of sniper dependent. So for the next fight here, nobody really did anything amazing to get ultimate charge, I guess. Like, probably the closest person, I'm not going to look at the top, is going to be maybe Kenny on our side. To ult, just because he was farming the Diva and the Widow over here. That's probably my best guess. Ryan didn't really do much, neither did Diva. Their Widow found a headshot. She could be somewhat decent charge. But yeah, just looking forward, nobody's really going to have ultimates for this second fight, but what these guys are going to have is somewhat safe angles to peek from. They're not safe to contest from, because it's a long way to get the cart, or it's a long way down to actually touch cart here. But if we're not careful, they could really roll us from these angles. So something that I'd like to do here is just get ourselves in a position to punish snipers if we can. As individuals, like, so I guess my fight plan here is like press tab, see what they have, watch for any swaps, which we do actually get onto the Winston, and mostly just be very, very, very careful of snipers and high ground and stuff like that from here, because we have this right side window, this whole platform here, and even this left side window to watch from, and the bottom on both sides too. So pretty much 5 places that we could potentially be sniped from if we're not ready. We got to be ready to reduce some of these angles, maybe with a shield or something, or to invalidate them with a shield, mainly Sig. And yeah, going forward, pressing tab between the fights, we see that they have a monkey. So what does this mean with their comp? Well, now they have snipers and Ana Mercy, and they have dive tanks, which basically means that they're looking to pressure out people with their dive tanks and force them into sniper sight lines and shoot them, probably. So Monkey can jump someone like our Widow, Monkey and Diva jump our Widow, our Zen, our Ana, and basically the snipers are going to look for them. They're just going to try and pick us apart, sort of. So what does this mean for the individuals? This means probably playing from cover is our best option until we see snipers. Like, our main priority is going to be shutting down snipers, so Kenny's role in here is going to be pretty invaluable. Because the Winston Diva can jump in, for sure, like that's great, but we have a Roadhog, we have Zen and Ana, who are all really good at potentially kiting the Winston or the Diva and the dive, if we're doing so carefully. But the only thing that really concerns me is, like, they can dive us and whatever, right? They dive us, it happens, we play cart, maybe Roadhog peels for us, which is good. So yeah, as a tank you should know, like, Winston's probably going to jump somebody here. I don't know if I can find a hook here. Like, it would be unlikely to find a hook here. It would be unlikely to find any major sig value here besides poking the high ground. So we should probably play more back towards our supports. Yeah, as individuals, mostly just play behind cart, really watch these angles, be careful. Like, it's my best sort of advice here. So now we can see that they're sort of spreading around the high ground. This is getting a little rough, but our plan still stands. We have to be very wary of being, like, off-angled and stuff like that, and play from cover, which is a little spotty here. In general, we did a good job of playing safely into the snipers, though. And yeah, so their Winston Diva jump in. It's not funny. They dive our tanks, oddly enough. They're just looking for some cart contest, or actually they dive our supports. Our supports rotate out, which is good. They don't rotate to cover, which means they could be punished for this. It's sort of falling into the enemy's plan. But they do not take advantage of that. So yeah, as an individual, it mostly means, like, not freaking out when you see the Winston Diva playing from cover somewhere. This could be here. This could be here. Only LOSing here. You could play from over here, which is also really crazy too. Over here is a little unsafe too, depending on if the tanks are still alive, but we can still see it, like, still useful position. Yeah, overall we're just trying to make the snipers not find value here. So, got this thing here, and now we simply out-sustain them as a comp. So, checking our ults really quick, I'll look at our side. We just used Whole Hog. We have Flux, we have Trance, we have Blade. We're getting close to Nano too. When we're playing into this next point, there's going to be a lot of high ground. This window is a common flank spot. We learned this script too. They're probably going to hold somewhere on top of this angle too, with some sort of shield usually. In general, those snipers are going to be around here, or this back rim side too. Um, or even like playing around here and stuff like this. Basically, all this means is like ideally we want to get our tanks in a place where they can also punish these out of position people or snipers of some sort. Like if our tanks can climb up and hold high ground and pressure snipers and stuff like that just as well as they pressure the ground, that's really great for us because that means we're accomplishing a lot of what our little lane comp here is looking to do. We just can't hang out our other people to dry if they don't need to be. But yeah, everybody should be playing in a position where we can cut off the angle from high ground if we need to. Um, we should only peek onto these snipers when we're ready. So yeah, ideally, most ideally, we're taking all sorts of different angles and trying to juice them and stuff like that, and just being very receptive and pushing when we need to. Let's see how we actually play it. So yeah, in terms of I explained sort of how we play into these comps. I guess a little bit. It's mostly just gonna be the same thing as last time. Supports are gonna try and be pressured out maybe by their tanks, and picked off by snipers. Here, flanks are also really good because they have the boosted ash. Um, that's potentially deadly as well. For us, it's mostly just going to be playing around some form of cover, peeking high ground, trying to find picks if we can, trying to take high ground if we can, which is really valuable as well, and being ready to drop and dropping safely in the presence of a Winston, who can be really annoying here. So yeah, I've explained sort of comp-wise, positionally, we're playing into a bit of a disadvantage here by not having any high ground. Ideally, we want to take them and pressure, or take it from them as soon as possible. Ult-wise, let's look at what we got. So again, we have Flux, we have Blade, we have Trance. We're getting close to Nano. We can really do a lot here. They probably get two fights here. Probably one around here, so when the cart gets here, and one when the cart is about to be capped. I would prefer to maybe just Nanoblade this one if we can, and then Nanoblade to take the high grounds, try and slash these guys, then take the high ground ourselves with maybe Hog on cart or something like that, so we can put ourselves in a position for a recontest, or for their recontest, which we can flux. And we can trance if anything goes wrong. Or horribly wrong. And that would involve, like in this composition, there's really nothing to trance. There's no nano blade, no like very easy sort of ultimate combo to do here. It's mostly just going to be about sustaining the team if we absolutely need it. Like if they bob and they nano and they make the fight long and uncomfortable and stuff like that, like if you really want to close it out, you can gift your team the extra sustain. Just be wary of the Ana. So yeah, as an individual, this mostly means again being careful of high ground and peeking with shield and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we're not wary of the Widow here until she misses her shot and dies for it. Unlucky. So yeah, one sniper down, easy. Again, sort of as an individual, when we know they're playing with a Mercy and snipers, it is almost to be expected that they're going to want to go for these reses. It's very worth our while to stay and try and punish the Mercy for resing. Because again, we're really not doing anything special. Like, we could be continuing to take this high ground with somebody peeking over here, like if the Genji had stayed over here to punish the Mercy and try and punish the Diva. Then the people over here are like, hey, there's a problem over right side. We got to be wary of that. That creates a lot of good pressure for our tanks and possibly any flankers over here, or maybe snipers as well, to follow up on this pressure and try and find a pick on somebody. We can even rotate to high ground with this sort of thing too. Like having Widow on this high ground would be pretty good. So yeah, they're doing the thing. They nano Winston. That's kind of awkward. We didn't trance, and I guess I get why. Yeah, it would have been annoying. Or it was annoying to do there. We do flux for it, though. And, yeah, we mostly made a trade for Nano for Flux, which is kind of, I mean, it's not ideal. Nano builds faster than Flux. But we do have Nano Blade, we still have Trance. We lost our Flux though, and we're getting sights soon. I haven't seen them. Winston, I haven't heard them sights. Ash has been alive this whole time. It's been Widow who's getting stomped, so we can probably expect Bob sometime soon as well. Because she got the res off and she's just been chilling too, like on the Ash and around the Ash, Mercy is maybe close to Valk. And Ana just nandoed last fight, so it's probably not going to have it for a teeny bit. So again, our plan is pretty much the same. I mean, now they got Nano out of the way so they can extend a fight like they normally would, or to make it as long as they normally would. We could pretty much expect the Bob here. So, actually, hey, I was right, cool. Yeah, we can expect the Bob here. They're probably going to Bob Cart. Again, we can take high ground or something like that with Nano Blade. I think that'd be a good idea. Especially with the cart this close, they're going to have a tough time getting recontests onto us. So, we Blade, but it is, we Nano Hog. Okay, our Ana's dead. We're not taking angles. We're not taking high ground. But we are getting some good card everything. That's pretty good. We're isolating ourselves on them. Let's see. Yeah, okay, Widow has this top high ground, that's pretty alright. Finally, Trance is forced. They already primaled, they diva bombed. They bobbed before. Okay, yeah. Ideally, we just out-sustain their comp on point if our supports are in a good position too. Okay, we invest the whole hog too, so we're pretty fresh at ultimates in general. The closest we're gonna be to this Flux probably. Yeah, because that's one we hadn't seen in a while. Probably Sights. Let's check. Oh, we just used Sights, whoopsie. Yeah, so closest to Flux, whatever. Let's see, again, pressing tab. So entering third point, they don't get a recontest here. Now we can see if we press tab. Let's just let the Diva respawn in the Mercy. Yeah, so now they're still running the boosted Ash, just with an Echo. So Echo mostly means more pressure on our tanks, maybe, with that stupid 50% half health beam of hers or whatever. Again, there's some high grounds for the taking, but these ones actually are pretty decent for Genji. We just have to watch around for the outer rim ones. Like this window here, this window here, this window here for snipers and stuff like that. Again, we sort of want to control the high ground and lanes and stuff like that, as many as are preferable. Maybe somebody even controls here in this room. Not that it would be incredibly relevant until we get there. The only ultimate we have right now is Flux, which is pretty good. Again, we were going to probably have to save that for the recontest, but now we have it to just do stuff anyway. We can really force their hand with Flux a lot of the time. Oh, yeah, so that's a pick onto two of them. This is a pretty potentially free high ground for us. And even if it isn't free, we can bait some cooldowns out of the monkey and the dive people. See, like we forced Nano because he jumped. That's pretty interesting. So no Nano for them. Doesn't carry... Oh, we're blading. Doesn't carry a significant sort of thing. Yeah, we shouldn't have bladed. We didn't really need any ults here unless, like, So, like, looking at their composition, like, what are they gonna do, right? They're pretty much dive with a slight high ground component with a boosted dash. They have nano so they can stick around a little longer, and they have an echo so they can pressure from different angles. They're mostly looking to be really, really annoying once the tanks engage from high ground. We can sort of counter this a little bit by having occupied high ground or in trying to not give it up. Um, Sigma's actually really good on this high ground here too. We can rotate our less flexible people like our Ana and our Zen up with him if we need, or even just our normal snipers. Yeah, but we shouldn't really need ultimates unless they're willing to commit some, like, nobody's in a great, like, none of them are very easily bladeable unless it's like the Mercy Ash and they're together, and maybe Ana's there too. Um, but like we should say Blade as sort of like our last fight sort of contester. Um, Kind of like Flux here. Like I think Flux can find a bit more mileage than Blade here, depending on like the immense amount of pressure that we put on the targets inside. So mostly I think we should look to pressure with Flux, you know, just try to not lose out on the high ground advantage. Um, Keep them from taking it, because now like Diva's just annoying up there and so Zeko. So they bob cart, they're trying to make the fight longer and annoying. Yeah. Let's see. Why did we lose? Why did we lose? So we're sort of not, again, not taking advantage of high ground. We would have had a much safer time if we weren't getting attacked from up here. Um, and again, part of that is because like our Genji, our main, like our easiest person to access the high ground probably, and one of our most mobile members is in spawn right now. So it's gonna be tough. Like again, because we lose that big high ground piece, like Genji could pretty safely maybe 1v1 with Harmony or the Echo, um, unless he gets actually completely rolled. That's kind of rough too. Like if you get stickies before deflected and just melted. But yeah, like losing the high ground component means we're vulnerable to it. So we should probably play from positions in which we can sustain uh, their normal dumb little dive. Because again, they're gonna dive, and then they're going to send people in on the off angles or from high ground. Um, it's pretty much just their thing, and you can see that we're not really ready for it. Like we're still trying to punish the Bob over here. We're getting melted over here, like supports on cart. Yeah, we weren't ready to receive that. So yeah, they committed the Bob there because they really wanted to stick the fight out. All we needed to really do was just back up and be ready to hold our position or try to, um, because we have no high ground control currently besides our Widow, and that's a pretty risky situation. I think in these closer quarters environments, and especially because the enemy team isn't running a Widow, we should probably swap Ashe here or something like that. But yeah, besides that, like maybe just retreating into a position like this, trying to force them into an enclosed space, and then reflux, might be a good idea. Let's see, so as we re-engage here, just pressing tab, looking at our ults, we have pretty close to whole hog, pretty close to sights. We still have everything, pretty much, almost everything except for blade. Not bad. We have a nano too. Nano hog is really good for sustain. Let's see. Ult tracking the enemy a little bit. They used Bob last fight. I believe they did Diva Bomb, but I don't know why. Why do I think that? For some reason, I could have sworn they bombed like in this bubble or something. In any case, so probably no bomb then. Yeah, no Bob, definitely. Um, I forgot if they nanoed. I'll cheat this time. So yeah, they probably did nano. They have Monkey, whatever that is, and yeah, of course they use Bob. So we have a bunch of ults to use here. Again, if they want to stick out these fights, they're gonna have to do it with Primal. If they Primal, I mean, we probably just play safe, try and keep our Genji on the high grounds, and just keep our supports in a position where we can peel for them. Like a big thing on the tank here is going to be like knowing when you can sort of lane and zone people out if you want. Like if Roadhog shows his presence here and doesn't get slept by the Ana, and like even if he gets naded, like and people are trying to focus him, he can still walk away. But that pressure is still on the Ana. That's sort of like that zoning sort of thing. Like the constant pressure of getting hooked will deter the Ana or something. You got to know the difference between sort of zoning and applying pressure and stuff like that, and then like actually trying to keep people alive and tank and support and stuff like that, or tank for your supports. Had we retreated into a position like this, like maybe we back up a little bit. Um, that's a hard rotation to call, like backing up into this room if we're playing in there already. Um, but yeah, then yeah, we can sort of body block the doors and play close together, which may be to our advantage, at least with Flux. But yeah, so for a plan here, again, we sort of want to take the high ground. It's a thing that is pretty good. They don't really have any ultimates that can be very easily forced out, like a Nano or a Valk with Flux. So maybe we should look to save that. We have sights up now. Let's see. So yeah, going into this fight, again, I just want to reinstate, like, high ground control is big. Now our Genji knows, well, depending on their position, like, it's always going to be pretty big. We just want these angles so we can pick people off. And just spread ourselves like peanut butter. So we Flux, Winston, Valk is forced here. We find their Ana. Oh, what a rock. Yeah, see, where we control high ground for a little bit. Like, we go up there with Flux. People are uncomforted by our presence, unnerved, if you will, and they leave. They respect it. So yeah, like those picks were, oh my god, yeah, really easily found just by controlling the high ground. And so was this one. Like, see, there's obvious benefits. Kazeko wants to be high ground. Ana wanted to be high ground that last fight. Probably Mercy. Like, every one of them benefits in some way from being on this position right here. And if we just deny them that, simply by our presence, like, that's really fantastic. I mean, ideally, if you run, like, a Sigma and your friends up here, Winston, Diva come over, and then they're like, oh, hey, guys, I want this high ground, please. Not only will they be facing pressure from Bubble and they'll have to use their DM, but if Hog is on the floor, he can hook any one of them as soon as that bubble goes down. Like, it's a lot of pressure we get from just standing around. And just denying them the place that they want to play, you know? Because when they're on the ground, they lose to us. Like, look at Monkey. And, like, Ashe is just finding less value because she has to shoot from behind Six Shield and stuff like that. It's a rough life. Yeah, here is last fight. Ultimates should be used conservatively, but when they must be. Again, this is all about just not losing, like, trying to kill as fast as we can the respawns and trying not to use ults that would come up for them quickly. Again, I don't know that there are any ults that really would, because... correct me if I'm wrong, but they just bombed and they also primaled in the last fight too, which is really kind of poor. Like, primal is their main sustain ult. Diva tries to frag out with a bomb, she dies for it. So yeah, that's both their tank ults. They bob almost immediately, he gets pushed into a useless, or a somewhat less useful position. And yeah, no, they really don't have anything to sustain except for Clone. We can throw Trance in here if anything is sort of stopping our momentum. Like, I think a Nano Hog here would be ideal. Just because he puts so much pressure. Like a Nano Hog is so much pressure, Genji can Naked Blade beside him and just be completely uncontested. We go for the nano blade. Doesn't matter. Pretty much it's curtains. If yeah, they can't touch. So yeah, mostly just like assessing a little bit of everything. Like knowing that they're a dive comp, they will want to sort of, or at least because they have dive tanks, they're going to be mobile. And mobility usually implies some form of high ground control. Um, like most usually. And less mobile comps can benefit from using high ground too. Like in the double shield meta, a lot of times on Junkertown C, we would hold here, like Orisa shield here, we would Baptiste window and stuff like that, and really hard commit to this high ground position because it's hard to break. It's annoying, and it's something that we benefit from as people who want to like pressure angles, which is like double shield's main little thing, was just pressuring a big ol' angle. But where double shield could only really pressure one angle, the autonomy of this comp is like really astounding. We can sort of pressure lanes and stuff like that, which is why it is why Topaz came with the little moniker of a lane comp. I'm so glad we don't have to call it pig's feet anymore. I'm so over that. So I guess I'll go over the ones on defense here too. It's 35 minutes in. That's not terrible. I really want to do it from like a Zen's perspective. Yeah, pretty much it's about the same thing. Like depending on what they run, we can expect snipers. We can expect yeah, like we can probably just expect some form of sniper. And in this day and age, that usually means a boosted Ash. Like definitely expect to see those guys all the time. So blah blah blah. So I guess we're ready. Oh my. Let's see. Looks like we're good here. So yeah, again, snipers are going to be a thing. It's really, really important to not sort of lose our heads when it comes to snipers. Let's view from the tank's perspective so you can see who done it and who's seen them first. We see a Mercy there, we know Widow because they just picked ours. We see a Winston and a D.Va on cart. Yeah, that's gonna be annoying because they're gonna be pretty mobile. Cute little save from the D.Va. Yeah, and now that we know sort of what they're running, we're down to, we are pretty autonomous though, so we can hold here for a little bit. Our comp into theirs, we have a Torb instead of a sniper this time. I guess it's good for breaking hacks from the Sombra as long as the turret placement is alright. Oh yeah, we also know they have a Sombra, which is the last component that we didn't know. So yeah, Sombra implies that they are going to want to shut down the Roadhog by hacking him before he can vape and try and commit onto him. The rest of their team doesn't really tell me that though. The rest of their team tells me they want to hack Sigma and try and go for snipes, or just hack people and be annoying. Like Sombra's going to be a big component of their comp, and they're probably not going to take fights. They would be wise not to take fights unless their Sombra is in position. This is like the big thing about playing with Sombra is that most teams, most smart teams anyway, or most teams without some sort of ultimate advantage are not going to take a fight until their Sombra is set up. So you could see that, I hope I went back, yeah. Other Winston's like a little initial conquest to high ground, he only moves over when Sombra is in position here. Or when Sombra has sort of found her value. It was a little bit late from them, but overall, yeah, that's a pattern you'll probably notice playing into most teams with Sombra. When she has the MP, when whatever happens, like teams probably won't engage until she's ready to be somewhere. So all of us have to be ready when we see the enemy approaching. We gotta wonder, where is Sombra? Is she coming for me? And as like a Zen or a tank or something, like this is pretty big for us as well. Let's see here, going forward. Where did I put my phone, I wonder? Yeah, we're doing the right thing. Just not trying to give up the high ground. Again, we have this like nice little spread over here on the high ground. Our Zen hasn't revealed himself yet. They don't know what's up, except for maybe Winston. Um, let's see, yep. And our players are back. It's pretty good. So again, we're mostly looking to achieve a nice little spread here so we can control the cart from different lanes. We can apply pressure and stuff. Um, Although it's going to be pretty hard to control the cart movement with DM and bubble and stuff like that. We're going to have to break through those. Well, Widow exists, so probably our main goal is going to be to try and just get a pick onto the Widow or the Sombra so that we can devalue their sort of tanks. Because if their tanks engage without the Widow or Sombra pressuring people out of position into their sight lines, like it's not it's not to be done. This is funny. That actually wasn't very funny, but it was something. Let's see. So yeah, we're really close together. I'm not sure I super like that. Like, we can afford to be spread apart because we have the mercy healing. Oh, so close. And yeah, look at the pressure that we can still achieve just by holding high ground. Like, Sig just zoned Ana so hard. D.Va's screaming to get out. Let's see. And these fights are going on for a long time, it seems. Or these like weird little skirmishes that we're engaging in, like not really fights, but they're just sort of happening. These are positions, like the longer the fight goes, generally the more value Roadhog finds because he's got more hooks. He's got more uptime comparatively to a really fast fight where he may only get a hook or two. Let's see. Yeah, now the card is in a pretty decent position for us. We can control it with relative ease. We can even ambush, or not ambush, let me say, augment our snipers with a Sig shield here so that they can peek the angles that they want to peek, do the things they want to do. But ults are coming online soon, so we got to be ready for those. Sombra actually found like probably 2 or 3 picks so far, one on the Mercy in the beginning and one on her Zen too, which is from full health. She actually found like another one under her Zen as well, so she's probably close to EMP. Looking at our ults, pretending to press tab. We're closest to, well, we have core, closest to Flux, trans support ults are coming soon. We gotta be ready to exist powerfully. So again, if we haven't seen Sombra, or we haven't heard from her in a little bit, we know she's flanking, just like any other flanker. If you don't see them, they're probably there. But watch how she's in position here, and the rest of the team engages. So pretty easy. They choose to engage on a Torbjorn, which is kind of maybe one of the worst people to dive. That's kind of poor. And they pay for it. The card is in even better position. So we're losing members, but we're keeping the high ground. Easy. Yeah, good. Yeah, our Sig actually doesn't have to drop from the high ground here, so we're just using a bunch of ults here. Let's see. So yeah, our fight plan here is mostly just trying not to give up the high ground, I think. Like, that's such a big component of pressure here. Like, they are going to want to play from the high ground. Like, maybe Winston D.Va push us out main, or they push us off the high ground. Then they could put down a cute little bubble or a D-Matrix and set up their Widow over here. Like, it's a big pain. So, like, not losing these high grounds in the first place is, like, one of our biggest priorities. Look at that guy. He's dead. So yeah, as the cart enters this area too, we gotta be really aware of the fact that this is the part where widows have fun. I forget, what is it, 60 meter drop off? I don't know how far 60 meters is. I don't have a meter stick on me in game. So peeking this angle is really common for widows. This one too. She can really pick anywhere. That's sort of the luck of the draw. This is pretty uncommon. This is somewhat more acceptable.
this high ground, even this one too if you're feeling risky. There's a lot of places from which Widow can sort of exist here. So this is why holding onto the high ground is good here. Not just because it's a cliche high ground, high ground, high ground, but it's because it's a spot where Widow likes to exist, and it's a spot where you can punish her from. So you can see that they're already sort of doing the thing that we want to do, which is cover a lot of lanes and stuff like that, and apply a lot of lane pressure. So they're doing it main. This is a nice ult. Dang it, we're using too many. This seems hard to win, honestly. This seems hard to win to me currently, just because we used Torbolt last fight. We literally just double support ulted, and we used our Hog. The only thing we have is Flux now confirmed, and they're probably not going to be amazingly grouped together as they were before. But again, as you see, the Roadhog finds value the slower the fights go on. So this fight isn't over, surprisingly. And yep, he just gets more hooks. He just does the thing. Widow gets dumpstered. That's pretty funny. I gotta review that one really quick. I have to see if he hooked her out of invis. Because if he did, Okay. It was still a crazy hook, but it wasn't from invis. So yeah, now for last fight, we know they're going to give it everything they've got. Because the only ult that we have is Flux, maybe what we want to do is try and hide some of our other pieces off of the high ground, just put a couple people on cart, so that we can bait them onto cart, their tanks onto cart at least, and bait a Flux. Again, like, Sombra is... Depending on how much value Sombra is getting, and you'll have to evaluate that mid-match, we could probably expect EMP. We don't have anything to counter EMP at the moment, so our supports and our friends should probably try to be in a position to LOS it. So yeah, this guy tries to commit with a Nano Primal, an interesting combination, and falls short of his goal, which is actually really, really good for us. They don't EMP anybody but our tanks, and yeah, we were just not in position here. Unlucky. Yeah, we weren't ready to adapt to this yet. Let's see. So yeah, we dodged the EMP from the support line, which is actually fantastic. But we see the bomb coming towards of us, and none of us are in an adequate position to LOS the bomb. That's the only reason we really lose here. That's really unlucky. I mean, like, you can't really fight plan for that. We had our plan, which is mostly just trying to bait people into a Flux, do our thing. There's a lot of people on cart now that would be great to Flux, and if we were all alive, I mean, it would have been so much easier too. Like, in that situation, hiding for bomb is pretty difficult for a Sigma. You probably have to rotate over here to the right with our supports. We all just didn't make it in time because we were out of position. Which sucks. It stinks that we lose that. But what are you gonna do? Let's see. We commit to a recontest here. Yeah, without our Zen, this is probably unwinnable. Yeah, this looks like a lack of target calling. Like, this is all execution. There's really not much of a plan that we can do here except to try and make the recontest cheap, Try not to use everything that we have. But let's see. Again, as it sort of happens, press tab, we see that they've swapped onto the Echo. Again, now they're running no form of sniper, so the Widow is no longer necessitated. Like, there's no need for a Widow in a land without snipers in a world, So maybe we go to Ashe here. Ashe is a lot better than Widow in these sort of situations, in my opinion. The Torb is, he's alright here, I guess. I don't mind him. And basically, our comp into their comp, looking at what they want to do, like, this is an annoying little hack and burn comp. They're probably just going to wait to hack, like, our Roadhog or our Sigma and try and dive onto them with the dive tanks. Sombra and Boosted Echo, like, try and burn them from other angles. It might be really annoying here, depending on their approach and stuff like that, but the way we counter this is by playing a little apart but not too apart. apart enough so that our Mercy can fly over and potentially heal the dive target, and apart enough. And what I mean by apart is not just physically apart, because that's not good enough, but playing from a position from which we can punish these players doing this. Maybe having our Ash over here or over here or something. Maybe having our Zen more towards the back, um, maybe our like hog on the ground or sig up top with our ash or something like that, so if they commit onto any one of these people, we can punish them with some success, maybe. um, and that's mainly the key, is just disabling their sort of little hack attack, whatever they got going in here. But yeah, we're really not in too much of a position. Like, our hog is still coming back from spawn. um, we shouldn't have came here we shouldn't have stayed out here if we weren't six. And the reason is, like, why is because we're going to get rolled here. Our cart is not in a place where we can contest. But miraculously, we invest Transcendence, which may or may not be worth it for this next EMP, and I guess we do it. So yeah, next fight we know we're going into an EMP with we're going into an EMP without a trance. This shouldn't be a terrible problem just because we have Valk, but if she gets EMP'd too, it's going to be pretty rough. Again, we want to play apart, but not that apart. Like, I don't think our Torb needs to be over here. I think our Torb can maybe hang out more towards the ground or something if he wants. Like, just spread and make it difficult for us all to get EMP'd. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, no, I don't like that very much. Unlucky. Yeah, so um they got EMP'd, they cloned our hog, they did the annoying thing, and unfortunately we lost our Sigma somewhere in there, and that Sigma is going to be a big part of our cart presence. So what I think we do is we stick together, and we probably have to uniformly back up here. They have no more snipers to sort of make our lives like annoying, so we can play more. We like, the high ground isn't such a necessity. It's really good, but it's not as amazingly valuable as it might have been before. Our Zen gets forced out of position here, so does our Torb, I guess. And we just sort of die. Uh, so yeah, I don't think we get a retake here. We're not close to trance. Pressing tab, we switch to a McCree. Nothing different from them. They use Primal to stop the recontest. That wouldn't have happened anyway, so that's cool, I guess. And now here, I mean, again, they're running super mobile tank line, super mobile DPS line. We just want to try and stop them from accessing the high ground as easily as we could have before. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one from unless like our Zen takes high ground or something like that, and our Mercy too. Maybe our snipers or whatever. Again, Ash is really good here, like really, really good here for taking high ground. But yeah, we just want to disable them from playing like this. Because what are our tanks supposed to do about this? Like, look at Splat. He's looking up. He wants him, but he can't get him. This is something that our DPS could more easily achieve. So yeah, just stop them from taking cart. Do our thing, Just burn them if we can. Like, Splat literally just rushed them, and they obliged. Let's see. Yeah, we're coming up on the end here. It'll be over soon, so. So because we're not super hard scouting for the Sombra, like, we have to anticipate every fight that, like, before every fight, like, we're not scouting for her, we're not checking for her in a lot of places, and obviously that's a bit of a more advanced thing to do, but because of that, we sort of have to anticipate that she's going to be where she wants to be before the start of every fight, and that could be anywhere where she's gonna find some value. Like, if you have an important ultimate, just consider that you may be
the target audience for her little show EMP. Oh man, well that's a coinky dink, isn't it? I would have said our fight plan is once again trying to disable the high ground, but Splat literally walks over and does that himself by ulting them. Echo literally just loses. Uh, oh my, yeah, that's kind of sloppy. From them at least. Yeah, we got a lot of good tools to work with here. Pressing tab, we have our Flux, we have our Noon, we have Trance, we have the other one. But again, we have to expect that pretty much every other fight someone's going to have an EMP. Every other fight, I mean. Um, you got to be ready for it. And I guess for Zen, this means positioning in somewhere where she can't get you with EMP, or somewhere where she has to sort of solo you with EMP. Like, a good place to play is usually here, in this room. Like, the enemy's gonna contest cart, do their dumb thing. You can still discord people if you step a little bit out of here, like just a little bit. You can just fire down, do your thing. They don't have anybody long enough range to reach you except for Ana, maybe. If they full commit onto you, then that's probably free fodder for our tank line, or just easy peel for the rest of us. Yeah, and if they EMP all the way up there, you can just run in with a trance. It's pretty easy, pretty textbook stuff. But especially in fights as significant as this one that's looking to be like one of the second to last fights where they might invest a lot of things, it's important to not jeopardize our own team's safety with our positioning like we are now, sort of. If we get EMP'd up here, 4 people get EMP'd, we're probably dead. Thankfully, we're regurgitating Q. This is looking weird. Yeah, this isn't really a fight we can super plan for, is it? Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah. Alright. It's just things like this, like, no, like, everybody's, like, fighting, and then, like, 3 seconds go by, and suddenly, like, we just high noon to call them out on their positioning, and they have nothing to show for it. It's kind of sad, really. That the fight has to end that way. It's very, I don't know, undignified, but whatever, we win. That's good for us. Poor for them. Yeah, ultimately that's sort of my little fight plan thingy, just going through a bunch of fights, looking at what we could do, looking at what we couldn't do, based on not just how our comps sort of interact with one another, but how the positioning does, how the map does, and how what we can expect based on that, and finally sort of ultimates and stuff like that to a degree. I'll be posting this soon, and yeah, enjoy. Have a great night.